Hi people of the BC, it's Andy Cloudy Mulder. So a couple of weeks ago I had to go to the US for a few days for work. Head office of the company I work for is in Atlanta, Georgia. So I flew out, I think it was like the 6th of March on the Sunday, and was coming back on the Friday. I had a pretty jam-packed schedule. I've met a lot of people. I've worked with these guys, the people out there, for 2 or 3 years, and never met any of them face to face really. So my days were pretty much booked up, and my evenings as well, with various meetings and meet people over dinner. So I didn't think I'd get a chance to do any digging at all. But fortunately or unfortunately, as the case may be, someone I was due to have dinner with on the Tuesday night I was there had to pull out for family reasons, and a friend at work who knows of my passion for vinyl offered to take me out to a couple of record shops that she looked up for. I mean, she's not into vinyl at all, so it was absolutely fantastic that she did this. So she picked me up. It was about half an hour's drive. It was a horrendous rainstorm. Never seen anything like it. Atlanta, you need to sort your drains out. It's terrible. The amount of surface water that came down in a matter of an hour was unbelievable. But yeah, so we went out to 2 record shops. The first one was called Criminal Records, and the second was just around the corner called Wax and Facts. Both really cool looking record shops. Unfortunately for a metalhead like me, the pickings were pretty slim. I expect Harmless Rebel and the likes of Farley have got there just before me. In fact, shout out to those two guys. They both, when they heard I was going out, they kind of offered, Harmless Rebel offered, if time permitted, to pick me up and take me to a record shop, and I think Farley would have been cool to have met up with Farley as well, but it was just a flying visit really, literally, and I didn't really have time to arrange anything, so I was very lucky just to get this one opportunity. In fact, I didn't actually get out there till 7:30, and the shops were closing at 8, so it really was a quick day. I didn't really get a chance to sort of look through the whole store, or have a good chat with the owner or things like that. You know, you do when you go to cool record shops. But I did manage to pick up some things. Whether I would have bought them if I found them in a record store in the UK, I don't know. I kind of felt obliged to buy some because my friend had driven me out all that way. But let me show you what I got, and you can tell me what you think. So a few of these are bands I'd heard before, and I already owned some of their music and enjoyed some of their music, and a couple of things were new as well. So first up at Criminal Records, let's say pickings were slim, but I did find this copy of Crocus, Change of Dress, priced at $5.97. I think it may be overpriced. It is still in the shrink, but it was open. Now this is Crocus from 1986. This is a very different Crocus from the band that released Headhunter and One Vice at a Time. So from their early kind of AC/DC vibe and bit of a Judas Priest vibe going on. I mentioned in my last video, this is more your commercial kind of hair metal, really. Not great. It's okay, but you know, much prefer the earlier stuff. I certainly, having heard this, wouldn't necessarily look for I think there was one album after this in the 80s. I wouldn't be in a hurry to pick it up. Probably would do for completeness, but no rush at all. Crazy picture in boiler suits drinking champagne. It looks like a demolition office. But yeah, so it was cool to pick up something in the US, and I'll keep I'm just going to keep the price sticker on there anyway, just to remind me where I got it from, and felt that I got it on a trip. The vinyl itself is in kind of near mint condition. Here's the inner sleeve with lyrics, and it's on the Arista label. Next up, the only other thing I found, and I didn't find this in the metal section. First of all, I thought that they'd misplaced it, but then maybe they know more about this band than I do. And this is the debut album from the Royal Court of China. Now I already own Royal Court of China geared and primed, and you can tell from this photo. I mean, they look like they're a metal band. This one was '89. I've had this for quite some time. This one, their debut, was 1987. It's a promo as well. And this is a very different sounding band. They're more kind of alternative rock. Didn't really like it the first time because I was kind of expecting them still to be more of a late 80s, I guess, Guns N' Roses style metal band. So this sound was different, but it's a good album. It's just not a metal album. Kind of nice that it. I do like it when I find original records that come with a little bio about the band. This was some A&M promo material. Some little stories about, just obviously try and get you to know the band a little better. Finding out that so this band's originally from Nashville, with the exception of the drummer. Chris, who's the youngest in the band, and after recording in Nashville, the band went to Los Angeles to mix their first LP at Soundcastle. At night, Chris drove up and down Sunset Boulevard looking for road stories to bring home. He said he was tired of not having anything to talk about, so he hired a masseur dressed in bondage gear to pay a surprise visit to their engineer John Mills the last night they were in town. Then, as if that wasn't enough, he spread 10 bottles of ketchup on Mills's sheets. So it's intimate stuff here, stuff on the road. Bass player has a near photographic memory and strong individual vision, reads musicians' biographies voraciously, learning about their motivations, but rarely shares his own with others. He'd rather let people think what they will. Robert helps write the band's press releases and design their album cover. So apparently this is an extremely rare photo. Rare and special photo. There's a nude oriental lady sitting in the midst of a blue forest with her arms outstretched towards a Victoria placed on the grass in front of her. Oscar Rice is the band's guitarist, self-taught, and can play anything with strings. It's as if he was born to do it. People think it's easy to get to know the Royal Court of China. It isn't. They're nice guys who also happen to be sharp and extremely intelligent. They're full of southern charm and manners, and they don't like people who bullshit around. So, very cool to have that in there. But as you can see from the band photo here, so this is a very different look. So this is 87, sorry. This is a very different look from this. They're a bit more groomed here. They've kind of got suit jackets on and nicely done hair, not the grungy kind of sleazy metal look that they went for in '89. There's that picture again of the new Japanese woman. This is on the A&M label, as I said. So, but it's an interesting album. I'm kind of getting more into it now. I know it's not a metal album, if that makes sense. Okay, so that was Criminal Records. So Criminal Records is very strange for me because I'm used to going to record shops and independent record stores, and they always have their own bags. And Criminal Records gave me a nice pink oversized bag, so the records were kind of sloshing around in here a bit, which is kind of fine. Not a bag's a bag, but I thought it would be nice to have had a souvenir of a bag to bring back. So next up, we walked down the road. About a 5 minutes walk was Wax and Facts. Again, cool record store, lots and lots of records, but metal was very sparse. The owner said that it just literally gets snapped up. There was a box of new stuff that hadn't been sorted through. I looked through, then I found a box right at the back that looked like no one had touched for a long time. So I found 3 things here. 2 of them 80s, the other one from 2015. But interesting is, and again, this bag super oversized for putting records in. He looked at the bag I got from Criminal Records and was like, "Oh, I'll give you a proper bag," and it's still one of these oversized bags. It doesn't fit records properly. So anyway, So first up, I've never heard of this band, but I thought I recognised the cover of this band, so this is why I picked it up. I thought it was something else. I can't tell you what I thought it was, but certainly it wasn't this. But so this is Storm. Again, this is a gold stamp promo copy. This cost me $4, and this is quite keyboardy. It's more sort of classic hard rock, really. Parts of it sound, the first track, Settle Down, it kicks in, it sounds very 80s keyboardy pop rock. But there are other times it's really, really good. But it's a bit hit and miss between 80s pop rock and more sort of 80s hard rock sound. So this was 19... Oh, I can't say, let's look at the record. So this is on Capitol purple label, 1983. Female fronted. All right, it's okay. I just listened to it again now to remind myself before showing it now. I say a lot of tracks I don't really care for, but there's some good tracks and some good bits of tracks as well. So a little bit hit and miss, but yeah, I'm glad I picked it up. But it's not what I thought it was, and as soon as I can remember what I thought it was, or I can see a cover that matches what I thought it was in my head, I'll probably have to let you know. Next up, the last of the sort of hard rock, but again, this is very commercial 80s pop rock, really. This is the 1985 album by Headpins. It's called, well, actually on Discogs, I thought it was a self-titled album. I mean, it looks like a self-titled album, doesn't it? It's got Headpins up here, it's got a hype sticker here with some things, but the album name is actually called Head Over Heels, and it is tiny writing. So yeah, but this was, again, you can see it's in the shrink, and this was mostly sealed. It was split from there to about here. It's got a punch hole on it. When I opened it, I was really surprised that the record, which is on the Rainbow MCA special there, it was filthy. It looked like it had been removed from the sleeve quite a few times. There was some sort of like very faint lateral scratch mark. So I don't know if this has been resealed, reshrunk, or whether just the over the years the amount of dirt that had gone in through that split seam at the top. I couldn't tell you. But so the Headpins are a band that Greg the Egg introduced me to. So I've got their 1982 debut, Turn It Loud, which is really, really good. It's hard rock, AC/DC vibe to it, female fronted with Darby Mills on lead vocals. This is a very different beast. They've gone far more commercial. So in '85, you can see certainly the outfit she's wearing there is very 80s. But again, this cost me $4. Interesting to pick up. Not as good as the earlier stuff, but yeah, interesting. Again, so out of those four, maybe if they'd been well, certainly if they'd been better pickings, I wouldn't have picked those up as well. But you know, it was cool to go shopping in a different city, a different continent, no less. And I'm hoping that I'll be back there again on a few more trips. I'll probably need to go out once or twice a year now. With the current job I've got, so hopefully I'll get a chance to maybe meet up with some of the guys out there and go digging. Maybe get a bit more time to myself next time. The fifth and final album I bought isn't an 80s one. It's a stoner rock album from 2015. Cost me $10. I'll cover that in a little bit more detail, tell you what I think in a general collection update video. That's it. Had a great time digging out there. Hope to do it again in the future. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think of these albums. Give me a like if you wish. That would be great. And if you haven't already subscribed, do yourself a favour and click that button down below. And I'll be back again very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye now.